Pavlo or not Pavlo? That is the question. But of course not for the viewers of this channel, because it's me, Pavlo, as usual. Hello, and today we'll be talking about earphones EPZ K5. So, no short way to pronounce EPZ, like EPZ, but it sounds not really good. And it's interesting earphones, 5 driver hybrids with single dynamic driver and 4 balanced armatures, almost like, you know, classical schema, and they are available on the AliExpress. Their stated price is $160, but for some time they are available with discount and cost less than $100, which is always good. Lower price meaning higher value, and we like higher value. I will add links to the description, and let's have a closer look. So, box is classical with interesting combination of black paper and gold embossing. On the rear side you can see blow-up diagram, frequency response chart, but of course it's not really informative with this scale, but actually looks pretty nice. 114 decibels of sensitivity, 30 ohms of impedance, so really nice figures, meaning they are not super sensitive and not too hard to drive. And they made of resin and stabilized wood, also pretty promising combination. So let's go inside of this outer sleeve, let's remove it. And also interesting box with interesting texture, so they use a lot of unusual interesting texture, and as far as I remember, I never saw such cardboard before. Inside of the box everything is also pretty traditional, but really like nicely and well done. So here are earpieces themselves, and also we've got a case, and probably that's it. The rest is foam, but actually no, there is some extras here, but it's mainly papers. But also they've added bright white storage pouch. Not sure why it can be needed, but actually understood. When you going somewhere and don't want to carry this case, you can get this pouch. And here is the case, looks pretty nice. Stock cable is also pretty well looking. Also you getting cleaning tool with brush, airplane adapter, actually haven't seen it for quite a long time. Nice set of tips, and 2 replaceable jacks. So as you can see, the even cable is modular, which is pretty good if we consider the price below $100. And let's peek at the set of tips. Also pretty interesting. So you're getting this classical gray silicone, actually not gray, bit grayish silicone single flange tips. You're getting double flange tips, and also you're getting small white tips. Also, as you can see, nice selection. Here are earpieces themselves. There are few versions available: red, gray one, and this is green. So stabilized wood is always a nice option for the faceplates. It always looks good, and offering unique design, meaning that you'll get some patterns that no one else will have. And inner part is made of pretty transparent resin. You can see it's easy to count drivers, so there are really 4 of drivers united in groups of 2, and they are going to with bores to the exhaust of the earpiece. And interesting that different tubes have different diameter. Probably it's elements of acoustic tuning. And also here is a connector. I can't see is there some crossover or not, but it's always interesting to explore the internals. Here are spouts, really nice and well extended, fitting good into my ears. Spouts themselves made of metal, and they have lip for holding the tips and protective grill, so everything to provide a nice fit. Shells are pretty small, so I don't think a lot of people can have issues with fit, but of course it's just my assumption. But in general looks nice and feels well built. And let's check out the stock cable. Long stripe of Velcro. So here it is. As usual, I want to select proper one, so left one for the left earpiece. Regular 2-pin connectors, so it's easy to find some third-party cable. Pretty hard fitting, so probably I will insist and push them to the full, so holding really well. There is ear hooks formed, and it goes down below, twisted in this helix and in some kind of PVC insulation. Not super soft, but softer than an average, with low microphonic effect, so pretty comfortable. Here is splitter with chin slider, but in this case chin slider makes no sense because it's not holding on the cable. So it just fell down, probably they missed the point of chin slider. And below the splitter it goes twisted down to this jack, and here we've got that classical regular schema of changing. You just pull it, then you need to match groove and notch, and actually carefully put it back so you can get connect whatever connector you'd like. So in terms of exterior, accessories, packaging and all that stuff, I think it's really well made. Speaking about the sound, it's important to admit that you need to experiment with tips to find the proper fitting ones. For me it was big single flange silicones, but for you it could be totally different, because without a proper fit they really suffer in terms of sound and tuning. Also, I burned them in for about 48 hours and there were no big changes in the sound, so if you'll decide to get them, don't spend time burning them in. In terms of the sound, it's like a bit of retro tuning that was popular about 5 years ago, and it's basically hybrid sound pushed to maximum. From one hand you're getting pretty pleasant and juicy bass, with good punch and nice weight, but at the same time not bass head probably. On the other hand, you have like a really accented treble, not too much, but spike is pretty noticeable. But let's talk what it gives step by step. So bass has a good depth, maybe not maximum, but a pretty decent one. Despite being dynamic driver, it has a really good resolution, meaning a lot of small nuances to make acoustic instruments sound pleasant. Weight is like normal, basically what is in the record you'll get from these earphones. But at the same time they highlighting punch, and that gives them really pleasant rumble. If you like that sense of rumbling low frequencies, it's not the most bassiest and most rumbliest models, but like for models that is tuned to be more or less balanced like this one, or actually I mean balance when lows are compensated by treble, so not like natural flat balance. This one is pretty impressive and gives a good sense. It's really pleasant on some electronic music, at least to my taste, and also it's kind of nice with some acoustic instruments. Of course it's lacking a bit of realism, but still really enjoyable experience. acoustic instruments are a bit of exaggerated in terms of their micro features, but it sounds really fun. First example is Massive Attack, Dissolved Girl, and Massive Attack is like when I listen to them, I remember all that articles about light in photography. You need filling light, you need contour light, and so on. And in this and in Massive Attack tracks, you getting filling bass, you get contour bass, you got like main bass. So here you get deep like resonating bass to build the foundation, but at the same time different pretty deep kicks and lot of other stuff going on in the low frequencies area, and actually this model play it pretty well, and it's a nice enjoyable experience here. Mid frequencies are like a bit of also typically for the hybrid models. Low part is dynamic driver, and the upper part is balanced armature, and on low part there is a slight warm coloration. It's adding some weight to the vocal, for example, but at the same time on some rare tracks it can lack a bit of resolution on the lower mid frequencies. But it's not always, a lot of tracks are okay without that. Upper mids are typical balanced armatures, fast, detailed, focused on the presence area with nice prominent female vocals and instruments. Imaginary stage is slightly above average in width and in depth. It's not huge, but depth layering is nice and instrument positioning is pretty accurate. They are average in terms of nitpicking for the quality of record, because from one hand they are not trying to be super resolving or super focused on the micro contrast, but at the same time they have a pretty noticeable treble, and that means that the track should be recorded well in terms of treble, and that bears some requirements for the overall quality of records. And example for the mid frequencies will be Shocking Blue, Hot Sand, and of course it's like in many cases main part of course is a vocal. Tune is nice, and that accompanying instruments are nice. Shocking Blue have their own signature sound, but main part of course it's vocal. And thanks to that accent on the upper mids area, it sounds really prominent, really forward and enjoyable. And the treble, probably in this case, I can say that if you're sensitive to the treble, it's better to try them before buying, or don't buy blindly at all, because treble is pretty detailed, energetic, forward, airy, but at the same time it's not trying to hide some sibilance when it's present in the record. It's not trying to make treble more comfortable. No, what is present in the record you'll definitely get. So on brightly recorded tracks you'll definitely get all that brightness. Not everyone will like, to my taste or my subjective treble perception, they came close to like border of being comfortable for me, but not crossing it. Treble extension is slightly above average, and layering is almost absent, but overtone saturation, both basic and more extended, is pretty good, and also you're getting nice airy sound. And with tracks that have good percussion, it can be a great experience, like all Sting tracks. So Englishman in New York, because of the character of these earpieces, treble became more prominent and more noticeable, and you can easily focus on it and enjoy on different aspects of percussions. And actually there are tons of things going on in the high frequency area. And at the same time there are a lot of instruments that goes with overtones to the treble area. They are also represented pretty nicely. Also same applies for vocal. So in terms of pairing they are not super critical, but at least some normal digital to analog converter would be a plus for them, especially to control that treble properly. With some smartphones or not great sources, they can lose control over treble and start sound shouty or something like that. And to be honest, I was trying to remember some models for compression, but I didn't recall nothing, just FIOS JH7 that I reviewed recently. JH7 has bit less tight bass, a bit more detailed mids, and a bit more comfortable treble. So basically, FH7 slightly less V-shaped compared to these ones. If you want some more comparisons, please feel free to ask me. If I know that earphones, I will write something about that. But this model is for those who like really musically colored sound, for those who like to get some fun and engagement, and also for those who are okay with noticeable treble. Not typical for modern models, but with, in many cases, really enjoyable. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.